before we start, let's first perhaps clarify why is it important to actually spend time on learning what the role of Emunah is. It's just you don't have time to finish baking for Shabbos, and now you're going to have time to sit down and explore what Emunah is. What exactly is it that we are seeking, and then we'll be able to take that out with us in the end. Right? Got to first know, why am I looking at this subject, and then you'll be able to take out of that subject pertaining to what you want to take out of it. So there are three things that you can highlight. How Emunah is not just, Emunah is usually looked upon as a philosophical subject, not as a practical subject. Yeah, I mean, there's vikuchim, there's different things to understand. What's the practicality? How it plays out in my life. I'm living here. How does it affect me? Why is it so important? Here am I going to come upon this question that I simply should spend time to familiarize myself with it a little bit more. Why? So there are three areas. Yeah, I made like 15 copies. It should be. You need more? Oh. Take this one. Can I share with you? So there are three areas just to highlight why we're focusing on it. The first area, somewhere, or more often than not, we hit junctures where we're frustrated, and the word Emunah shows up. So obviously, Emunah is not philosophical. Obviously, it has to do with the frustrations and challenges we face in life. Emunah is supposed to address them. We don't feel like it always addresses them. But it's supposed to address them. It's supposed to somehow alleviate a certain sense of the pain we have within have Emunah, have bitachon, have Emunah. So this has the stories of bitachon and Emunah, which is the tool we have how to address is Emunah. So you got to first understand what Emunah is, understand how to use it to be able to use it when the time comes, or when the time always comes, how to address the proper situation. So Emunah is not just a philosophical thing. It actually is used in life in in those challenging times, which can be more often than not. The second thing within Emunah is the things we do on a day-to-day basis are also dependent on Emunah. What's the most common thing we hear all the time? You do a mitzvah. What do we hear? What are the things we always hear? Kabbalah sales, just do it, just get it done. What am I shmata? Just get it done? Really, what's supposed to be here is a feeling, is a sense of purpose when I'm doing what I'm doing. And Emunah is the yesod of that. Emunah is again the yesod of that. And that's in a day-to-day behavior. Anything I'm going to be doing throughout the day-to-day life. Any mitzvah. Emunah is the yesod of that mitzvah. I go to work, I brush my teeth, I don't say over there Emunah, mitzvah, I'm saying Emunah. So yeah, it's difficult, but if I would know why, perhaps that would help ease that difficulty. So again, the Emunah is not philosophical. It's there in the frustrations, it's there in the behavior in the sense of mitzvah mindset that we do on a day-to-day basis, that we're seeking really to have more of a connection to that mitzvah rather than to be like a mashmata or a robot or a psa, as a machine that's just spitting out mitzvahs. And that is Emunah. That you say that is Emunah. And the third thing, which is even deeper than that, is from time to time, or all the time, you look around and you say, what lifestyle do I have? And what are the lifestyles around me? The Hebrew love and we call Amen. In the end of the day, a person lives in this world. And at the end of the day, there are a lot of similarities that we have. And sometimes you ask yourself, so really what makes me talk different? Because I do something else? Really, what makes me different? And it's not philosophical. It's very practical. It can be practical in the sense of adapting new lifestyles. It can be practical in the sense of adapting a mindset. It can be practical in the sense of feeling distance from what you do. And that's also the shade of Emunah. So Emunah is not a philosophical thing. It's really not. It's very practical. And as we'll see, it's beyond practical. can be called identity. You can almost compare it to someone who is seeking to get to know themselves. So what are you good at? Oh, I'm good at everything. Then you don't know yourself. Who are you? What makes you different? That's not a philosophical question. That's actually the question that leads us into our life. Whatever I'm going to be doing in my life should be as a consequence of who I am. So if I don't know myself, that's the worst thing I can do, is not to know myself. Because then maybe I'm living a life that I'm a lot of my frustrations are because I don't know myself. A lot of my frustrations are because I'm doing things that are really not for me, and I'm climbing up the wrong tree. So Emunah is really a yisoid in the sense of not philosophical, but very, very, very practical. Yeah, it starts in the philosophical point, but it's really, the yisoid is very grounded. Good, that's the introduction. So now let's start a little bit of discussion. I've made a copy of a mimer. I also gave a handout. And the discussion that I'll start will be with how is Emunah touched in the world. Let's have to go to the Sehiv Dilon Nikola Am. The whole world says belief in the Yediah. It's not something unique to Yidden. If you look around in the world, what do people seek? It's fascinating. We don't pay attention to these words. Okay, a person who's hungry doesn't seek. A person who's hungry wants to eat food. A person who doesn't have a home wants to have a home. A person who doesn't have a family wants to have a family. So once people are established, are in a sense, feel like they are not hungry, so what do they seek? A human, a goy, not a yid. They seek purpose. Humans seek purpose. You have many different bestseller books that all about purpose. You know what the word purpose really says, implies? Purpose implies as a creator. If I bump into someone in the street by mistake, oh, tell me why you bumped into me. There must be a reason. No, it was a mistake. I just happened to bump into you. There's no reason why I bumped into you. If the world is a mistake, and it just happened to be, so what are you looking for a purpose? It's a mistake. He made a mistake. What do you want? What are you looking for? It's a mistake. It shouldn't have happened. I want a purpose. It didn't happen. It shouldn't have happened. It was a mistake. I don't know why it happened. No, tell me the purpose. So really what they're saying is they believe in industry. When people seek purpose, what they're saying is there's a designer. A purpose means there's a designer. And they want to. So it's an Indian that's really not shy of Yidden. The whole world wants and seeks to understand and has belief in Eibishter. What makes the difference? What makes the difference? Why are we ma'aminim b'nei ma'aminim? Ma'aminim b'nei ma'aminim is b'nei ma'aminim. That we are, not them. Why? They also believe. They have an adorable and godly trust. What do you need more than that? I'm the dollar for myself. Can you imagine? Let's chat. There are really two types in Emunah, or belief, that the world uses, and they're both inaccurate in the sense of how we use it. Let's play them out. The first type would be similar to the mashal of the pit. There's a famous mashal that I believe there was plays made out of this mashal in schools. It's a very famous mashal. There was a Yediah who was thrown into a pit because he didn't pay the rent. And the Yediah had children. The children grew up in the pit. And all the children knew was the life of the pit. Good. The parents tell the children, you should know there's a world out there. So there's two groups of children. One group of children believe Tati and Mami. And one group of children say Tati and Mami are getting old. And they kind of want to hope that there's something more than the pit. So they created this outside experience of world to dungeon. They created this outside experience to hang on to some hope. Right? So let me ask you a shaila. Is this Emunah? Let's think a second. Seemingly this is Emunah. What do we say when we say the word I believe? I believe means I don't know, I don't understand. We have different words we say. Usually there's three words we say. I know, I feel, or I believe. I know means I can prove it to you. I feel means it's a feeling that I have. Okay. I believe means I don't have a feeling and I don't know. And you should go and also believe. They can believe Michigan things too. Fools can believe, right? So this is going to be a major question. So are the children in the pit who believe Hakiman, are they believers? Is that the description of Emunah that we pride ourselves as Yidden with? Let's take a look at these children. What's the basis of their conviction? Nothing. As a matter of fact, in the back of their heads, they're saying maybe Hakiman Efakol. They don't have, if they know, say you know. They don't know. They don't feel. They believe. So what are they saying? Ask Hakiman. I blindly trust them. The lion means to say, my koiches pnimim, my feelings, my emotions, my mindset is absent. And I'm dependent on what they say. So I'm a copycat of them. So I'm really not involved in it. Let me ask you a question. If someone's going to come in the pit and tell them, either you die for your Emunah, or you join the Kofrim who don't believe outside of the pit, they're for sure going to have mysterious message. Why should they have mysterious message? Emunah is supposed to be something more real. If you have mysterious message for it, it's got to be something more real. Why does it? It's not Emunah. It's blind. You can decide to be blind. It's okay. You can be a happy blind person. You can be happy. It's a decision you make to be blind. It's not Emunah. You're blind. Why is it Emunah? Goyim use this for Emunah. Goyim use blind faith for Emunah. And that's not a Yiddish thing. Goyim actually make a whole thing out of it. And they pride themselves that they're blind, that they're closing their koiches pnimim in order, what do we say in Chassidus? Maybe she wants to koiches pnimim. Emunah is not despite koiches pnimim. Emunah is going to include it. Right now it doesn't make sense, but it's going to include it. Emunah is not meant to squash your feelings. Emunah is meant to motivate you. It's actually supposed to be the deepest motivator. That's not a motivator to be blind. In this scenario of the pit, there's actually no motivation. They're blind. As long as they blind themselves, so they're going to jump to the tune of their father and mother. Many things can shake up such an Emunah. Many things. That's not Emunah. So that's the first Emunah. That's the first face of Goyim. There's another face of Goyim. And that's where we use in English, we use the word have faith in the doctor. What do we imply when we say the word have faith in the doctor? Do I go, when I want to show a person needs open heart surgery? So probably, correct me if I'm wrong, what you do is you go to the yellow pages and you see the first heart doctor, and you take him to have open, because you have faith in the doctor. You're supposed to have faith in the doctor. So you take the first doctor that shows up and you say, go ahead, cut me up and do what you want. It doesn't work that way. Why? I thought you have faith. You have faith in the doctor. No. I have to make research. So you don't have faith. No, I do have faith. What happened over here? Oh. So it's not faith, it's no. I make research. And I see what you did in the past. I'm going to get to know you. I'm going to get to know how you perform surgery. I'm going to hear about your credentials. I'm going to hear testimonials. I'm going to do what I can in my capacity of my mind to lock into my mind that this is something good to do. I'm not just going to go ahead and give my life over to someone and put myself in a risky situation. But everybody knows in life they're not an expert in everything. So therefore, part of knowledge is to know you don't know everything, and therefore you allow yourself to go to someone who knows better. So really, when I say I have faith in the doctor, what I'm saying is I know enough to say that I know that the doctor is good. Although I don't understand what the doctor's going to do, but I know enough to say that he knows. So I know. It's not I believe. I know. Part of knowledge is allowing yourself to go in risky situations. It's called a risk factor. We do it all the time. And that's part of a normal behavior. So when someone says, I trust God, could he make a mistake? Yeah. The doctor can make a mistake. Are you nervous when you go to the doctor and you have open heart surgery? Yeah, you're nervous. But you have trust? I have trust. 1 second. Then you say you have trust? I have trust, but there's a 1% chance, and I just don't want to be that 1%. And he turns into a number. I like living, so therefore I'm a little bit nervous when I go there. And it's not only live with because it's my life, and he might think I'm a statistic, but for me it's my life. So therefore I'm very, very nervous. So you don't believe. You don't have hundreds of. So when we say I have trust in Hashem, is it the same trust? Maybe I might be that 1%, so I'm nervous. But it's not going to work. Trust is supposed to take away nervousness. It's not supposed to be together with nervousness. If you really trust, then you should be 100% trust. 99% commitment is not a commitment. Someone says, I love my children, but once a year I'm going to give them up for adoption. Only once a year. 99% of the year I love them. Once a year, one day I'm going to give them up for adoption. You don't love them. 99% is not 100%. The gap between 99% and 100% is 100%. Right? That's how it works. So really, it's not belief. It's part of knowledge. There's two ways how we operate as humans. This is all part of humans. Humans. Either we blindly allow someone else to take charge of a situation. Sometimes in America, that's leadership, where people just, oilam goilam, you take charge, you do what you want, and I don't even know what you're doing, but just do it. Called blind faith. That's not knowledge. That's not feeling. It's called blind. We can decide to be blind. Why are we blind? Could be many reasons why I decide to be blind. Either I think he knows better, or I couldn't care less. I don't know. There are many reasons why I decide to be blind. But you're blind. So me personally, while I'm engaging with whatever behavior patterns are attributed to this person, I'm blind. I really, if you ask me, I'd like to get out of here. I'd like to let go of this whole thing. But I decided to be blind, so therefore I'm going to keep myself here. So I'm tying myself with a chain to this person, but really I'm blind. Huh? That's what it is. That's the shot of blind. And maybe someone's going to come to you and tell you that you're really making a big mistake. Because I know who this guy is, and he's really called manipulator. And he's not a leader. Oh, I didn't realize I was blind. I didn't realize when you're blind, you don't realize people manipulate you. That's one of the ways how non-Jews use the word belief. It's called blind faith. Look around. There's something called blind faith. This is blind. Blind faith is a faith.
Jews follow such people too.
Jews.
They apparently, I don't know, I should refer to the class, but a lot of Jews who supposedly are Maminim Nevanim followed all kinds of movements that dissuade them.
I'm not saying that Jews can't find themselves in situations where they fall into a charismatic person, that they just fall into cults or whatever it is, and they have blind faith. Any person can fall into. You don't have to go to faith to do this. It could be in life. It could be in every area of life. You can have someone charismatic that just pulls you and does whatever they do, and you follow them. This is something in life. Some people blame it on their Emunah. And some people don't realize could do it in work, and some people do it with medicine. It could be done anywhere, with friendship. It could be anywhere. It could be anything. But that's not Emunah. This is not what we say, Maminim b'nei Maminim. Totally not. Freya people, a lot of times, point to this as one of their frustrations. Why are you blind? What's the finish? Why don't you get it? They're very frustrated because they think that we're proudly blind. Yeah. But that's not what Emunah means. Emunah has nothing to do with blind. Emunah also has nothing to do with the regular way how we motivate ourselves, which is a place of freedom in the sense of, I have to know something, I understand something, and now I'm going to go ahead and do something. Because if that's the fact, there's going to be a risk factor. There's going to be times when you make a mistake. If you understand something, there could be. I don't have the knowledge to say there's absolute, and if it is, and if I do have that knowledge, then it's knowledge. Fine. If you come to the conclusion with knowledge that is absolute, fine, call it knowledge. And there is something called Yediah. But that's not Emunah. And we're going to get to that later. But that's not Emunah. So the first question we really have to ask is, what is Emunah? What is Emunah? Not blind. And I'm not going to be answering all the questions. I just want to lay out the picture. So that's the first question we have to have on your paper. So I 1 and 2 I'm going to get to in a second. I jumped. What I just now did is 3. I'll get to 1 and 2. What I just now do is 3 and 4. First question is, what is a minute? And I gave the example of a pit. And now I'll talk a little bit more also about 4. Yeah, I added one more point over here. In blind faith, we say in English, give someone the benefit of the doubt. Right? I'll give you an example of the benefit of the doubt, just to highlight how blind faith is blind. And even when we give benefits, it's the benefit of a doubt. We're still in doubt. Let me give you an example. Say someone comes in and he's very upset, he's acting weird. So the kid says. So the person comes and says, and they realize he never just lost someone in the family. Oh, now I understand why he's behaving that way, right? Now when he comes in and I say he looks like a Mishugana. Someone's going to give him the benefit of the doubt. What am I saying? In my mind, I'm saying maybe he's a Mishugana, maybe not. No. Take away maybe he's a Mishugana. He's not. But I'm always thinking maybe he is. Unless you know something, then you're not absolutely sure. So whatever the blind faith is going to be, believe the father, believe the tata and mama. They know what they're saying. But maybe not. Give him the benefit of the doubt. Benefit of the doubt means to say, maybe not. There's always a maybe in the benefit of the doubt. Unless you know, there's always a maybe. The blind faith is like benefit of the doubt, if you wish. And the benefit of the doubt is saying, I'm going to be blind. It's a decision to be blind. But it's all in the realm of the first area, which is blind versus evil. That's the first question. Now, it's important to note, just to make the question bigger, and to lay out the full picture, we actually do have another area, which is called Yediah, which is called knowledge, which is knowing. So the first question, before we know what knowledge is, but there's another question here. Why do you need 2 motivators? I don't get it. Is one motivator not good enough? Is there something wrong with the first motivator? If there's something wrong, then there's got to be not 100%. But I thought one is 100%. So why do I need Yediah? It's coming to complement. What's it coming to complement? What's missing? Something is missing. So if something is missing, then it's not good. What's a shock? So the fact that we have 2 motivators also needs to be understood. Even more so. 2 more, Emunah and Yediah. These are 2 motivators that we have as Yidden. So there's obviously even more than that. I'm going to highlight the question with the mind. So the Frierdiker Rebbe over here has 4 points over here. The first point over here is that the Frierdiker Rebbe writes, if I would ask you, what's more of a conviction now, in the way you think now? Knowing something or believing? Knowing would probably you would lean in the area of knowing, because when you know, I don't have to believe. And if you know, I don't even what I know. So they're not only different, but they're like opposites in a sense. Yediah means I know, and Emunah is like, I'm missing something. I don't know what it is, but something's missing over there, because when I know. And when I believe, I kind of feel like something is absent. Comes along with Frierdiker Rebbe and goes like this. Yediah is going to help you have Emunah. This doesn't make sense. I know I don't have to have Emunah. Yediah is helping me have Emunah. It's oxymoron. Doesn't make sense. And just to put the full picture of what the Frierdiker Rebbe writes, he writes like this. He writes, a Yid is born with Emunah. A Yid is born with Emunah. But then they have a journey of Yediah. And then they have Emunah afterwards. This is a very common idea that's brought down in the Kishas also. Emunah, Yediah, Emunah. Let me ask you a question. Or I'll show you inside what the Frierdiker Rebbe writes. But let me just, what's he saying? I don't care. If Emunah is genuine, that I'm born with Emunah, then I don't need to have Yediah. And what does it mean that I have another Emunah afterwards? That means to say that the first one was not genuine. Why do I need another? Another means to say deeper, better. So the first one is not good. So this whole thing doesn't make sense. You're telling me I'm born with something genuine, and then after you tell me I have to go on a journey, and afterwards you tell me there's another Emunah. What, there's three things over here? How does this work? Does it make sense? So that's the second question. First question is, step back and understand what is Emunah. So we have two ways of understanding faith, the way it is by Goyim. There's blind faith. There's Yediah in the sense of doctor. And the second question is, so how does Chassidus put down the picture of how Emunah is supposed to play out? Very, very odd. Chassidus has this new paradigm. Emunah, Yediah, Emunah. And we're trying to make sense of this. If the moon in the beginning is real, then I don't know Yediah. And if Yediah means to know, why does it lead to Emunah? Yediah should be a means to an end. Yediah should be an end, not a means to an end. Yediah means I know, done, over. Not that now I do. What do you say? How does it work? It makes sense. What is in my brain side? Yeah. So you have, I just have 1, 2, 3, and 4. The first line of the mimer of the Yediah, he writes, After mitzvah Yediah Solakus. Mitzvah Yediah Solakus is a most. I have a lot of.
The second paragraph.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4 next to the 1.
Yes.
1, I highlighted it. 1.
Yes.
You have a 1, yeah? So it's a highlighter. Mitzvah Yediah Solakus is a mavui emunah pshuta. I just highlighted the right word, so if you want, you can see after the whole concept. In English, the mitzvah of Yediah is a pathway to Emunah. Usually, if I wouldn't see this mimer and someone would tell me, you should know, Yiddishkeit has this concept called the Yediah. I would tell you, yeah, Yediah means to know, and that's an objective in itself. When you know something, you know something. I don't know something in order to believe something. I know something because I want to know it, and when I know it, that's a motivator, and I do it because I know it. No, you know I need to believe it. What are you saying? What are you saying? That's what he says. Then he goes into, in number 2, he goes into a little bit of a discussion of what it means to know, which we'll get to later. It's a different discussion of what it really means to know. And then there's number 3. Number 3, he says that not only does Yediah bring someone to Emunah, but he says even more than that. He says the mitzvah of Emunah and the mitzvah of Yediah are actually the same mitzvah. When the Eibishter says to have Emunah, he's telling you to know. He's literally taking 2 different, distinct concepts. One is believe, and one is to know. He's smashing them together, making up the cholent. When I believe, I should know, and the really need to know what's going on here. Again, I'm not explaining. I'm just highlighting how Chassidus lays out the development of Emunah. And the word development means there's something there, but there's also something that needs to come. And let's just lay it out and try to understand it. What does this mean? The punchline is number 4. Here he says, and let's read a little bit of number 4. Achein. Start from the beginning. Achein. Ha-Yediah zimavoy el-Emunah. Yediah, knowledge of the Eibishter, getting to know, understand. This is a pathway to Emunah. Again, I'm not explaining, I'm just going to paraphrase and translate. In order for a person to have a pure Emunah, the Zachla be'emes la'mitasa, pure Emunah that's really, really pure, that comes only if you have Yediah before. Pay attention. That means to say the one I'm born with is not good enough. The Emunah that I'm born with is not going to be the same Emunah that I have later on. So you could ask a question and say, 1 second, but didn't you say that I'm born with it? He says, the Emunah that I'm born with, the Emunah that I have, that I don't have to develop. Even though the first Emunah that I'm born with is also genuine. Even so, the one you come with after the Yediah is more genuine. Hello? Genuine is not more genuine. Genuine is genuine. You can't be more genuine. But that's what he's saying. This needs to be understood. See clearly? You can see more if you want to see inside the kingdom. Let's sum up what we just said. Again, started off with why Emunah is important. That it's not theological, it's not philosophical, it's a very practical thing. And as we're seeing now, our whole life is around it. I highlighted 3 areas. First area is frustrations, challenges, and seriousness, where we see the word Emunah popping up. The second area is behavior patterns, mitzvahs, ma'asiyos. Again, the word Emunah pops up. It's supposed to give us a feeling for something. It's not just supposed to be dry, like it's a shmata machine. You're different. And the third thing is you're different. Not only behavior, not only challenges, but I am different. My mind is supposed to be, I'm supposed to think differently. I'm supposed to be, this is a major thing. It's funny that I gotta get to know myself. So that's really what Emunah is, to get to know. We're born differently. When you say the word born, it means to say, I'm identified with something. Not a behavior that I desire. Then we went into, the second point we went into is, so what do Goyim have in Emunah? So first of all, Goyim have Emunah. This is very important. Some people don't realize. Goyim not only have Emunah, but they're wired to have Emunah. They should created Goyim in a way that they should seek Emunah. And you see this in Gashma. When they say word purpose, they mean Eivester. And they're supposed to have that. That's what the Shem Mitzvah is. Shem Mitzvah means to say, this is how they're wired to behave and to gravitate towards something called Emunah. That's what Goyim do. How do we differentiate ourselves? So we highlighted 2 descriptions of Emunah, how it plays out in Goyim. First one is like a pit. In English, it's called blind faith. Very common. In life, it could be called when someone decides to follow anybody because they said, authoritative, kind of submissive. I'm submitting myself to this. Say, son, I don't understand, I don't feel. He said, I follow. It could be unfortunate sometimes. And some people feel that's how Emunah plays out. And that's how it plays out maybe by Goyim. But that's not what we say. That's not what I mean. Second way how it plays out in the belt is really Yediah. We use the word faith in a doctor, faith, Emunah, but really what we're saying is Yediah. Really what we're saying is, I know so much, and I know enough to know that I don't know something, but I know that he knows. So therefore I'm doing it because I know. That's Yediah. And that's okay, that's a branch of Yediah. We'll see later how that plays, but that's not Emunah. And that's not really a real Yediah, because as a matter of fact, in that case, I am very nervous when I go to that doctor. So it's not even a fulsome Yediah. So even in Yediah, it's lacking. We'll get to that also later. But what we do see is both of these faith words that we use, belief, faith, words that we use in English are not Emunah. So what's Emunah? So then we turned to Chassidus to see how Emunah and Yediah play out in the sense of just getting a game plan. We don't understand, but at least let's see what the game plan. And what we saw is that yes, ma'aminim b'nei ma'aminim, yes, you have Alekei Avi, yes, you have the Kabbalah, yes, you have the Emunah you're born with, but there is a Emunah, Yediah, Emunah. And this needs to be understood. If the emunah that I have originally is genuine, then first of all, I don't need any other motivators. And for sure, I don't need to purify it more. If you need to purify something, or you need to develop it, a child comes home and they say in the report card, he has a lot of potential. That's not a good simon. It's not a time for celebration. So the emunah, it needs to be purified. So something's missing over here. No, it's genuine. What do you mean? So why do I need to do something about it? I need to do something about it, then it's not there. No, it is there. Make up your mind. That's what you see over here. You see a juggling back and forth. And you also see this journey of Yediah in the middle. So all of this equals to one big question mark. Let's see it on now. So this was the first 2 points. Das and Emunah. We say Maminim b'nei Maminim. Why do you need 2 motivators? So the first question is, what is Emunah? Just brought it up. 3 and 4 is first. Why do we need Emunah? Second question is, why do we need 2 motivators? And the third question is, how does Chassidus play out this game of Emunah, Yediah, Emunah? This really makes it even more puzzling and more odd. How does it work out? What is it? So Ad Kan is laying out of the question. Before I answer, I'm going to make the question a little bit bigger. Who said you could have a connection? Emunah is supposed to be a connection, right? Emunah means I'm supposed to connect in life. I can connect to something through knowing, and I can connect to something through believing. It's supposed to, both of these motivators are supposed to connect me to, I can connect to a doctor, or I can connect to David. I'm supposed to connect myself when I know I connect, and when I believe. Now I'm connecting to that person. They're connected. 1 second. Let's step back a second. In English, we have a term when someone is in their own world. You go to an artist, and he has a gift of art, creativity, and you're going to compliment him on his painting. Okay, nice paper. He's going to look at you like, okay, thank you very much. Someone who knows his world gives him a compliment. It's a world. As a matter of fact, he's going to tell you, you don't get it. Chush Megina. Someone listens to a song. 2 people listen to a song. One person hears pots and pans. And another person is like in a different world. They hear a story, they hear an experience, they're living through something, and whenever they hear the song, they're living through something. They have a push. They connect. A smart person connects to something he understands. Someone does not can connect. Really in life, there's 3 chushim. There's Yediah, and Riyah and Shmiya. Riyah, Koil, and Mara. In English, that would be music would be Koil. Mara would be art. And Riyah would be smell. And there's 3. Some of us have a gift in one place where we differentiate ourselves in a major way from others. You'll never get me. You'll never understand what I feel when I hear a song. I'm in a different world. You'll never experience the art. You just won't see it. I remember as a teenager, you go through an art, you see an art, you go through it, you check it out, you see. Another person can look and see, just sit there for an hour and watch and see. You have to connect. You have to connect. Something more important with the chush. The chush. Chush is a gift. Gift means you're essentially different. Not gift as a matana. Gift as you have something in your person, your senses. You're in a different. You're not going to connect the others. So now, if we have in our own world where we understand that we can be in places and not be able to connect the others. And we have that with, if you want to really put out the picture, you have that gap, which is unbridgeable. Different worlds. You have that in two ways. You have that between species, between Zayman and Sameh, Chai Medaber. Between, for example, there's a beautiful story that illustrates the gap between Chai and Medaber, the famous marshal of the horses. Horses are taking Chacham on a road, and they're trying to understand what the Chacham are thinking inside the wagon, and they come to the conclusion, what are the Chacham arguing? Why would a human argue? Come to the Matzkar, and the humans are arguing because they want the hay in the Mishkan. Now, let's think a second. Is it shaykh for a horse to come to a different conclusion? No, it's not shaykh. They did the best they can. When you're in a different world, you can bridge a gap. What are you going to explain to him? You can't. You can't. You're in a different world. It's very important to understand. We're used to gaps 100 miles. So you travel longer, you'll get there. 1,000 miles, you travel longer. 4,000 miles, you travel longer. There are certain gaps you can't bridge. Different world means impossible. Done. You're there, and they're there. You'll never get them. The horse will never come to a better conclusion. Al derech zeh you have in humans. Certain people will never get. If they don't have to get, you'll never get it the same way they have. That's just the fact of the matter. Let me ask you a different question. So what makes you think you can connect to the Hebrew? So why would you think you're going to connect? Yediah, you're going to connect. Emunah, who said before you can connect? This is the word ein aloich. Ein aloich. In English, it's called unbridgeable gap. A different world. So who said we can connect? Maybe Taka we can connect. Maybe it's artificial. Who said we could? Makes more sense. You can.
Whoever said it about himself for our generation.
Oh, what?
They should think of somebody who's saving a law different from the generation.
But the point over here, in the sense that Ein can play it out in other ways too. But over here, in the sense of Emunah, we have to really, in a sense, what does it mean? If Emunah is real, and if Emunah is supposed to be me connecting to Hashem, why am I different than the horse? Why am I different than someone who has a chush of art and doesn't get someone else? Even more, a human. I was created, and even the conclusions that I come with logic of 1 + 1 is 2, that's because it's like the horse that understands that when you're hungry you eat hay. Yeah, because you're made to think that when you're hungry you eat hay. So 1 + 1, I'm made to think it's 2. Maybe it's 3 for him. I don't know. I don't know. He's a different person. He has things differently. He gets things differently. He's just wired in a different way. Who am I to even think I get to know him? See next week how that plays out in the sense of what I'm going to mean by the industry. Actually, this is going to help us understand what I mean. It's going to help us differentiate ourselves. If we want to get him, we have to be him. If we want to get him, we're going to have to be him. And we'll have to see how that plays out. There's no way to get him unless you get him. And if you want to get him, you have to be family to get someone. You have to be in their world to get them. So if you're really going to get them, you really have to be in their world to get them. Oh, that's very, very dramatic comment to say. You're in his... It's a little bit... What does that mean? He's a boyre. He's a creator. I mean, what does that mean? How does that play out? I used to see that in life. But that's what we're going to have to say. You're right, you can't bridge it. And how do you bridge that gap? What do you mean? I am Nibra. Show me how that plays out. Show me how that plays out in life. Show me how that plays out in the first year of Rum. Show me how that plays out in Matan Torah. that we're going to see later on how that plays out. Let's just summarize this today. I promise 9 o'clock to finish. We'll finish on time. Right? 9 o'clock to finish, right? Let me summarize. So again, what we did today is more tackle what Emunah is not. We discussed 2 ways how faith plays out in the non-Jewish world. And then we started giving out a paradigm of how Chassidus plays out Emunah, Yediah, Emunah. Didn't explain it. We just asked, so how does that play out? And then we started thinking, 1 second. Maybe I'm climbing up the wrong tree. What makes me think I can connect? There are certain gaps you can't bridge. And that's going to force us to redefine the whole experience of Emunah and to redefine how that plays out in life. Now, yeah. The main reason why I took this is for 4. So I can go through 4 a little bit more inside, so you see the paradigm, the play out of the Friedrich Rebbe. So again, so you have the beginning. He says Yediah is Mobile Emunah, and he says in order to have Emunah, you have to have the Yediah before. And then you ask, well, what about the Emunah before? The first original Emunah. So he says B'chol 3 lines from the beginning of 4. I'll finish with this parable. 3 lines from the beginning of
Third word from the end.
Third word from the end. B'chol Hine ha'Emunah haba b'akdamas ha'Yediah v'hasaga b'chol ma she'efshar leida ulahati. The Emunah that comes before the knowledge of a person, when a person pushes himself to actually contemplate and understand, so that original Emunah we're born with, the that's very high level, that Emunah. It's good. It's a very high level. Whatever high level means. You see, the word da'a means to understand, but he's using it in reference to Elekei Avicha, to the Emunah that you have. He's switching between the words of da and Emunah, because part of our conundrum here is da and Emunah should be really separated. They should be 2 separate discussions. And here, the Friedrich Rebbe is putting them into one discussion. The da helps the Emunah, it develops the Emunah, and that's part of the mitzvah of Emunah is da Elekei Avicha. That's part of how you have Emunah, is to know. That's what he's saying. Part of how to believe is to know. Doesn't really, right now, make 100% sense, but that's what he's saying. The Belekei Avicha, which is Emunah haba b'Kabbalah, this original Emunah that you got from your parents, you need to have Yediah over there. Don't suffice with your born Emunah. What do you say? Person has to apply his mind in order to develop an Avamira. It has to be and it could be. We're wired to be able to develop it. It's not something unattainable. Then I highlighted that. Oh, now you got the Yediah. Now it's Amitis. Before, it wasn't Sheker before. It was Naila Madrega Gavoy. But now it's Amitis in Yamona. He's using different ideas over here. But what does this all mean? And he's more than if you're not going to apply yourself and learn, that's not called Emunah. Don't claim you have Emunah if you never applied yourself to learn. Very, very strong lesson. It's the same with everything. Every Emunah is going to be the same way. Emunah is Emunah. As we're going to see, Emunah is all the good Gimel. Emunahs are tied in one set. Emunah. They play out with it. But it's very strong lesson. Therefore, you have to have that role of the Yediah. So again, you hear very strong Lashonis over here. You hear that you have to have Yediah, and you hear that Yediah helps Emunah. And you hear that there's Emunah before, which is Maila, Yisco, Kavoya, Maila Madrega. It's a very high thing. But you also hear, I need to sing in Emunah afterwards. What's going on? How does this work out? I'm a scientist, I'm just over to that stuff. Talk about it. We're going to get it. So again, now it's just laying it out as a question. So again, that was the basic up. So again, we had the two Pirushim and Emunah the way it is in the belt. We had the way Chassidus Paishes Emunah, and then we finished with the general question of the Emunah, which is actually we're going to see the Kiddush also talks about that later. It's a general thing in Chassidus. Who said you can even have a text? What does that really mean? Emunah is unbridgeable gap. I just explained it in a little bit more. There's a secret of that too. How the Rebbe explains for us to understand Emunah, you have got to give us examples. There's two examples between Chai and the Daber. Is a good example. So you have the horse and the human. Part of Emunah, very important to highlight, is the word impossible. We're not used to the word impossible. We're used to long distance, short distance, longer distance, very long distance, but they're all bridgeable. There's no such thing as what's impossible. Take a station. What? Oh, there's going to be something Chai and the Daber. Someone who's gifted. Day by day, what does it mean that we have a connection? We'll finish with that question. I also have one more handout if you want over here.
So what's that question for the next year?
Now this is a list of questions you can take with you. These are all different questions that Emunah addresses. Whether it's the idea of what is makif mean, I'll just say them out loud. When you say the word makif in Chassidus, Emunah is makif. I mean hovering. It's in the next room. In the next room, what does Emunah mean? Emunah is there. Where's Emunah? So that's one Kabbalah tale in another area that Emunah addresses. And then you have the idea of Nasa V'Nishma, is also going to be connected to Emunah. All of these areas, you have the idea of a Ganev. A Ganev can have Emunah, but his behavior is not effective. What is my hypocrite? So Emunah means I'm a hypocrite. All of these areas I just highlighted 8 different questions in the Siddur Nefesh, the Yid and the Goy. We're going to go into them later, but just to put them down on paper, the 8 different areas that are going to show you how Emunah addresses all those 3 points we talked from the beginning. It's I talk about my life, it's I talk about my behavior, and it's I talk about my identity. So it's not a philosophical question. It's anything but philosophical. And so I highlighted 8 different areas that Emunah addresses in life. And what the point of that is to show us that it's not philosophical, but it addresses practical areas in life. And I referenced back to the beginning where I said there's 3 areas that Emunah addresses. Number 1, challenges. In life, suddenly the word Emunah pops up. Number 2, behavior. Mitzvahs ma'asiyos. All the time. We're saying, do it, do it, do it. It's not about doing it. Emunah is really supposed to give us a feeling for it. It's supposed to. It's supposed to help us feel that we belong there. Not just we're doing it as someone else told us, blind faith. We're supposed to belong there. Emunah is supposed to be a central theme throughout the mitzvah. And the 3rd area is identity. You look around, you want to know who you are. Maybe I'm like him, maybe I'm like him. Who said I'm different? What makes you different than God? Simply to know who you are. Which is not simple at all. So Emunah is going to highlight that. We'll see in the next class how, once we understand what Emunah is, it puts us in a different world. We'll see you next time.